Welcome everybody to Sports Talk. Bono is none other than Ashton Calder, Michigan. Ashton's coming off a WCHA championship and also appearance at the postseason playing UMass in their playoffs. So we'd like to welcome everyone. And how are you tonight, Tony and Jim?
Good, really good.
Oh, I'm so jacked for this. I'm excited to talk to Ashton. I think this is a great opportunity for us, to talk to a kid who came a long way in his hockey career and has a real bright future ahead of him. So I'm excited for this.
Well, we'll bring him in now and see how he's doing over in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And Ashton, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. First question I have before we even get into this: it's not too often a Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan kid gets to play for his hometown in Division One. Can you talk a little bit about that before we get into anything else?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a cool experience, obviously, playing in front of your hometown. Not many people do it at Lake State. There's like very obviously select handful full of people, but no, I mean it was awesome. Like obviously, everybody know any in the community and always talking about the games and stuff like that. So no, it was cool.
And the one thing is, again, we're not going to blow COVID up again, but even with COVID this year, your season was a little bit different. You couldn't have a lot of fans in the stands, right?
No, we didn't have any fans all year. Only like the staff members were allowed in the rink during our games and stuff like that, or in general. But yeah.
And the last thing, did you really notice out playing that there wasn't any fans in the building?
I noticed it the first game a little bit. Kind of like the starting lineups. You notice it at the beginning of every game, but not only like that, but you notice it like at the beginning of the games, but a little bit at the beginning of the year. But then after the second or third game, you kind of get used to it, especially with adrenaline in the game going on. I kind of just focused out of it.
And the biggest thing is, unfortunate thing is, you guys won a championship for the first time since '94, and you can't even have fans during that whole season, right?
Yeah, I've heard that one a couple of times for sure. Everybody said that they were wishing they were able to come see it, but it's all right though. At least we still won it.
Exactly. And Tony, go ahead.
Ashton, nice to talk to you. Not on Christmas Eve, so I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to start. On our show, we've interviewed a lot of kids who grow up playing junior hockey, and everyone's had a different path to get to where they are. I'd like you to kind of talk about your path and your journey. So let's start off when you were younger, right? Just kind of talk about how you got into hockey, how you developed your love of hockey, and just kind of talk us through your minor career, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So as a kid, obviously, same probably over there, but in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, like hockey, everybody plays hockey pretty much when they're growing up. Like, obviously different places in the United States, some states play basketball, stuff like that. But here, it's hockey, it's kind of similar over there. So all my friends are playing hockey when I was like, 5 years old. And, I had a lot of family that played hockey, just like minor hockey. So my dad never played hockey, but my grandpa, he played hockey a little bit and like that side of the family. So they got me into it. And I started out just obviously rinks and stuff like that, playing, the AA program over here for the Sioux Lakers, stuff like that. And then, I think I moved away when I was 14. I think that was when I was 13, 14. I moved to Green Bay, Wisconsin. I billeted and played AAA there. Just kind of got a different experience. And I was a little too young, I feel. So I came back halfway through my year. I finished out the year there, but I came back probably like in February and went back to school here. And then from there, I played Sioux Firehawks, the junior team over here. It was a really different experience, kind of get used to the older style game as a young kid. I was like I said, 15 when I played there. And then from there, I decided to go play AAA. They wanted me to play for them here. Zeke and decided he wanted me to come on the team. So I joined when I was a sophomore in high school with the AAA program for half a year, returned, played a full year, and then I started playing juniors after that, my senior year of high school.
And Tony, sorry, before you go, Tony, I know your dad asked you, and I can't imagine him playing hockey.
No, he's a men's league player, actually. He's actually the leading goal scorer in men's league.
He must be no goalie.
Yeah, I think it might be the older upper men's league. We'll see. I don't know, but yeah.
So Ashley, you talked about going away when you were 14, and one thing that we often talk about on this show is how difficult that must be for kids to kind of leave at such a young age. So, I can't imagine that leaving when you're that age, because you're just coming into yourself, family, friends, big deal, all that kind of stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that decision to move away when you were at such a young age, and kind of, if you have any regrets doing it now?
No, I don't ever have any regrets. I mean, I never have any regrets in any of my hockey career, because at the time when you make the decision, it's what you wanted. So I know, I mean, it was a good experience. Obviously, I played some like high-end AAA teams, got some exposure, more than probably, the AA team could have for me here. But I guess the only thing you say is probably a little too early for me. I think I'd have to leave that early, but I mean, it was a good experience as well. I probably could have stayed back in the Sioux, but like I said, I don't regret it at all.
That's awesome. I'm going to toss it over to Jim because he wants to talk to you a little bit about the recruiting process and why you chose Lake State, and then I got some more stuff for you after. So go ahead, Jim.
Actually, at what time in your hockey career did you realize, I'm a pretty good player here? I got a chance to go someplace. And how old were you when you started thinking like that?
It wasn't probably really until I started playing on the Sioux Indians over here at AAA. Like, I mean, when you do the UP circuit and like the upper Michigan of AA and stuff like that, like obviously I was good, but then, like in AAA, like when I was 14 over there, I was good. But then like when I hit the AAA and I was playing the big teams like Little Caesars and Bell Tire and obviously well-known programs, and I was, keeping up and playing with them, but not just after like playing well. That's when I kind of noticed, like, oh yeah, like, I'm pretty good. So that was probably when I kind of realized when I started playing midgets.
Okay, and then so at what age were you when the schools started contacting you, and talk us through that a little bit?
It was a little bit towards the end of my sophomore year of high school. It would have been when my first year on the Indians, and then I played a full season through with the Indians, and I got some good exposure playing good AAA teams, and then that's when I started talking to more, and then ended up with that's when I committed to Lake State. It was after my junior year of high school. I think I was just turned 17, just turned 17.
Now you had other options. It wasn't just Lake State. You could have chose other places.
Yeah, I mean, like that was a little bit, but like it was like a few schools, but there was nothing serious. Like I didn't really go on any visits or anything. But then when I talked to Lake State, like it was just a pretty easy decision for me, being able to play at home and stuff like that. I mean, I grew up watching them and all the games as a kid. So when they talked to me and they and then it just seemed like a good fit at the time for sure.
And did you come and play in Canada for a year or something? Did I hear that correctly? Yeah.
Yeah, I went and played my second year junior in the BCHL with Surrey Eagles out there, and yeah, I loved it. It was a great time.
And did the Lakers send you there, or did you go on your own, or how did that work?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a little bit of both. So my first year juniors, I played in the North American Hockey League for the Minnesota Wilderness. And we were a really good team. We played really well. We ended up losing to the team that won it all in the semis. But then I was playing on my coach ended up leaving to go, I believe, with the Minnesota Gophers as like associate coach, something like that. So I lost my head coach and assistant coach there. And then I was talking to Lake State about it, and they really liked the BCHL. So they were talking about me going out there. Now you can't play over in Canada until you're 18 or like out of high school. There's a rule like that. You can't play junior A over there. Like, yeah, so I couldn't go to the BC in my senior high school, which they wanted me to do, but it was a rule. So when I was out of high school now, they said I should go there. But then the new coach called me, so I decided to go back to Minnesota for a couple games. And like the camp, he was saying like you big piece and all this. But then we lost the first couple games, and things just didn't work out. So then he's looking to trade me, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was gonna go somewhere else in the league. But then Lake State said that a team in the BCHL wanted me, so I decided, hey, I can go now too. I'm out of high school, so I said, yeah, let's try it. Something new.
That's awesome. So you've been pretty well traveled throughout your hockey career. That's
pretty
a lot of good experiences, eh?
Yeah, most guys stay on one team, but I like to. I don't know. I've been around everywhere. I just kind of go, where I guess wanted, not just that, but what I think is good fit for me. So I got experience, 3 leagues and juniors, different AAA programs. So I know I've met a lot of people, and it's always a joke whenever I go, like, oh yeah, like you played with so and so, and I'm like, yeah. You can probably guarantee I play with someone that they know. So, it's a little bit of a joke, but, yeah, it was cool.
That's pretty good. I think that's good. That's a good experience. Now, growing up as a youngster in Sault, Michigan, did you play against teams from Sault, Ontario very often, or?
Yeah. So when we were when I was playing on the Phantom and Sioux Lakers AA team and stuff, the AAA Sioux Greyhounds, the minor league, I don't know what they might be the Thunderbirds now, but back then they were the Sioux Junior Greyhounds, and they have like you guys have like a 99 group and like a 98 group, like it's separate like that. For us, our like it's split up by ages together. So like a Bantam first day or like a Pee Wee, it's like one team of 98s and 99s or 98s, 97s, whatever you're on. So whenever we would play the team that's younger. So like if I was on the 98, 97 team over here, we would play your guys' 98 AAA team and they were in our league too. So then after that, like when I was the older 98, 99, we would play the 99 AAA group. So I know a couple guys from both teams on the 98, 99 crew for the Junior Greyhounds back then.
And was there a little bit of a rivalry there between the two Sioux teams? There must have been, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously on the border and stuff like that. And then like, I mean, like just, we used to go over there and do tournaments. I can't remember what the tournament was called, but it's usually the big tournament for minor league over there. We always go and do that. So there was definitely a little rivalry over there.
Yeah. And then I'll ask you one more question. I'll flip it back to Bono. I know he's got more. Growing up in Michigan, and you're a good athlete, did you ever play football or anything like that?
Yeah, I played football, and actually in 8th grade, I was actually like MVP of my team. And then I was going into high school, and that's when I kind of I played basketball and everything too, but football I actually really liked. And then I went into high school, and that's when you kind of got to start getting serious about hockey because, you can't be taking a leg injury in football before season, stuff like that. And that was when I was moving to Green Bay, and I told the football coach of the varsity team over here, you want me to play on the football team? And he was trying to have a sit-down meeting with me and trying to get me to stay and play football because he wanted me to play here. And I was like, no, I like hockey more. Played hockey as a kid my whole life. I just kind of do football for fun, but I said, I'm moving to Green Bay, Wisconsin next year. I'm not going to be here. So he tried to keep me to stay, but I just decided still I want to play hockey.
That's cool. Okay, go ahead, Bono.
Yeah.
So obviously this was a magical season for you guys. Unbelievable season. Going into this season, did you guys have the expectation that, hey, this team could compete for a championship?
I did. I know that. I can't say for everybody, but I did. I remember – because I played on my freshman year team, we were good, but we lost first round to Mankato or second round to Mankato in the playoffs, who was a good team obviously that year. But we had that was when we had a first big bounce back season my freshman year. But then I was talking to our coach, Damon Whitten. I remember after practice, it's kind of starting about the team stuff, and I said, Damon, I'm telling you, we're gonna be better this year than my freshman year. I'm not lying to you. I can see it already. It was the first 3 weeks into the practices. And then it turns out, yeah, we were. I could just tell just from day one, guys were competing, guys were good, skilled. I mean, everything. We just team. It was an overall good environment.
Yeah, see, and I was so happy to hear because I grew up, as you know, my family's from Sault, Michigan. And I remember growing up and going to Lakers games. And I remember when that rink was just hopping, right? There was, 4,000 people there. The band was going, the horn.
Yeah.
It was always one of my favorite places to go. So, you know what, in order, the fact that you guys are kind of bringing hockey back, that must feel pretty good.
No, yeah, it definitely feels good, especially for a Sault, Michigan kid, obviously, because all those things you talk about, I've seen those when I was, 7 years old, even. They weren't obviously winning championships, but when I was younger, they were still a good team. And then obviously, before I came here, it was kind of going down, obviously. So I was just happy to help bring it back, get the place, and now it's crazy. People talk about Laker hockey over here again, they're excited about it. A few years ago, people weren't like that. So it was just cool to obviously help bring that back. If I can be a part of it, it was cool.
I want you to talk a little bit too, or I just, the way that your game has developed has just been something remarkable, really, when you think about it. You talk about the fact that you were playing AA in Bantam, right? So for you to jump up to AAA and kind of progress, maybe a little later in your hockey career, what kind of led to that, or what's the reason behind that, do you think?
I think it's just I don't get caught up with what leagues you're playing in, I guess, and what teams you're on. I guess what I always focused on as a kid and always is just getting better. Development's the most important factor. Kids always feel I need to go to this team, I need to get on that team, I need this. And I think the most important thing you got to remember is you still got to develop. You got to get better every day. So I think they're too focused on that kind of thing, stuff like that, and exposure to the point where you kind of forget, like I don't like no matter what team you're on, you can always get better. Like you can always, do things different in practice against different opponents, So like that was the reason I jumped to juniors with the Firehawks, like as a such a young age, because like I just talked to my dad about it. It gave me an advantage for when I do get to juniors, and like I wouldn't be scared of the fighting aspect. I was dealing with it when I was a young kid, and like the bigger men, like I got used to it. So then even when I went back to AAA just for exposure, I kind of felt older. Like even though I was young, I was really young, but you can ask a lot of guys on the team. Like I felt like older. I was bigger. I was like still 6'1" at the time, and it kind of helped me. I was used to guys that were 6'5", 200 and some pounds coming at me trying to hit me, but now I'm going against guys that are younger. It just gave me a little more confidence. So no matter where you're at, you can always just get better and develop. That's why I've just always been, and that's why you just kind of see the progression happen no matter where I'm at.
I love that you said that, because I think that's really important for kids to hear, especially, guys who think they get cut from one team and they think their career's over, right? So I love the way you said that. That was great. So obviously after such a successful hockey season, you've made a pretty big decision to transfer. So can you talk a little bit about that decision and what led to it and kind of how it happened?
Yeah, so obviously we had a good season this year, and like it had really like nothing to do with the team and stuff like that. It was more of just a personal decision. Like I've been here I played hockey in this town for 20 years or so. I mean, I've been here forever, and that's why I did an interview the other day with the guy from North Dakota about it, and I was like, like it is cool growing up here and playing and stuff like that, but at the same time, like I'm still a kid. Like I kind of do want to see what college is like, not my hometown, which I've been around my whole life, and like that was one big reason I wanted to go, is I wanted to experience, my last year, maybe you could see what else there is out there other than, Sault Ste. Marie hockey, because I have been here for like so long. And then not only that, but then also like, like another reason I left too was because North Dakota has like an MBA program, graduate program. So like, obviously I can attend that because I'm ahead in school a little bit and stuff like that. So that helps me, life after hockey, because obviously it's going to end at some point. Where I wish like Lake State doesn't have a graduate programs, so that's one thing that kind of sucks for like Lake State in that sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and obviously choosing to go to North Dakota, pretty good hockey school in itself. So
yeah.
What are your long-term goals for hockey? Are you hoping that I mean, obviously with the season that you've just had, there's no question that doors are going to be opening up for you, right, at the next level, at some level. So, are you hoping to, make a career out of this for the next couple of years?
Yeah, for sure. Like obviously, the goal is to sign, an NHL contract. Whether I'm not drafted, obviously, like I said, but like I'm a free agent, so obviously I can sign with, at any time with like whatever team. So I mean, obviously that's the goal, is playing to get like a contract. And like I was really hoping like this year would be the year. Didn't happen, and I'm not really too worried about it. Like I said, like we talked about it, you can always get better no matter what. It doesn't matter to me. Like so, I'm just gonna keep put my nose down and keep going. And hopefully this year coming up, hopefully I'll do good again, and hopefully it comes around.
Would you consider a career overseas?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the game. I want to play forever. Not gonna lie. As long as it's paying decently and stuff like that, I'll play to the day I die. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, you know what? Watching your game too, was there any hope for you to potentially play in the CHL, or was your goal always to go the NCAA route?
I thought about it. I remember I got invited to the Greyhounds. I believe you guys have like a 30-man camp or something like that. And I got invited to that after my second year midget. And then that was right at the time I was looking to commit to Lake State just recently. So I was debating on, do I want to do the college route or the OHL, CHL route. And then I thought about it for a long time, and then I decided to stay to do the college route, just because I've always been a good student in school. So I really take pride in school. I know they offer like schooling packages, stuff like that over there, but I just kind of wanted to play college hockey while, I guess, like in the United States while going to school. I guess it just was more appealing to me, just probably because I've seen the Laker games when I was a kid, and I understand, what it's like in the NCAA college lifestyle, like, the band playing, everybody on campus is rooting for you. You know, you're playing like, you know, you go down to Michigan, you got other like student sections screaming your name, like giving you stuff. Like it's a great time. Like there's a rivalry with schools. Like, so that whole aspect was probably the biggest reason I stayed and played college hockey instead of going to CHL.
A couple of years ago, you guys, the Lakers came over here and played a game in Sault, Canada. And that was the first time that's happened in, oh my goodness, I forget how many years, but it was a long time. You know, how was that experience for you guys? And were you happy with the experience? Do you think it was a positive experience?
Yeah, I think it was an awesome experience. I mean, the building was actually full. Like we didn't know what to expect when we were going there. Like obviously, like, you know, because, you know, you guys obviously more focused a little bit more on CHL than college, and like that was like the main reason that we kind of school wanted to go over there to show kind of, you know, what it's like college hockey's like, and, you know, the different kind of style of game. But no, like it was awesome. Like I was so blown away when I saw how many like supporters and the fans we had out there. Like there was a big crowd. So I mean, like it was cool. And then like and that was the biggest reason they wanted to do it, was so, you know, because obviously like in Canada the CHL is a big route, and, you know, not a lot of people usually think about NCAA, but like especially if you're like a late bloomer, so to say, example, like someone like me, like wasn't drafted in the OHL, wasn't drafted in the NHL, you can go to a college program and like develop until, you know, like I'm 23 next year, and I'm hopefully, you know, I'm trying to sign an NHL contract, like where it gives you a little bit more time to develop and get better. You know, like if you have that mindset, you always work hard, and like you just keep going and don't get caught up in it. Like, you know, it's just like a different kind of path to get there, so to say.
No, absolutely. And you know what? It's funny because I often talk about that with kids here in Sault Ste. Marie. We've talked about it on this show with Jim and Jay. You know, it kind of bothers me that a lot of kids here don't look at the NCAA route, because exactly your point, right? You're getting your education covered. You know, you're getting, you know, it's just, there's a different route, right? So that education package should be a huge deal. I think and I completely agree with you.
Yeah. And then like, I mean, like, obviously, like, you know, if you're a big name guy, especially, like, you know, I remember like Blake Spears, you know, he was a year older than me, but guys like that, you know, that go to the CHL when they're 16 and they're doing really well, like that's different. But like sometimes, you know, you know, if you don't make it there until make the team until you're 19, 20, like you could go to a different route. So you don't only have to play 1 year of the CHL to hopefully try and make it. You can have 4 years in college. Like we had a guy at my conference last year, Michaelis. He was at Mankato, and he was 25 years old, and he signed like a 1 year, like no cap deal for like $1.5 million, something like that. Like, and like he played this year in a game, and like he's gonna probably sign again after this year. Like, there's definitely a way different way to get there, because I feel like it, like, you know, in Canada is traditionally like you go to your CHL team or whatever, like get drafted, play for your AAA, like, you know what I mean? But no, like there's definitely like a different route to get there. And then the NCAA, I feel like, is getting bigger. I mean, it's bigger than like 10 years ago even.
Yeah, I think it's really important you said that. That's awesome for kids to hear. All right, got about 6 rapid fire questions here, so you can spend a couple seconds answering each one of these if you want, but nothing too crazy. So first one, toughest rink to play on the road?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with that one. Like, I'll do Michigan. When we played Michigan, that place was hard to play in. They're not in our conference, but definitely probably the hardest one I've played in.
What's your most embarrassing hockey memory?
Oh,
Killing your TV.
probably breaking TV. No, my most embarrassing hockey memory got to be in my first game, a junior game in the Null, when I got called up as an AP. I got a penalty in the first 2 seconds, and then I came out and I got another one. They didn't like that. I didn't play much the rest of the game, but yeah, that might be the most embarrassing one in my first. I was just too hyped, I guess. It's right off the face off.
Best part about playing at Lake State?
The community, I guess. Like, you know, it's like the community backs you up. I mean, that's one, and then probably development, like being able to, you know, when you go to Lake State, like if you can become a better hockey player, you have the resources and you have the time, like, you know, you have everything you need.
What's your pregame ritual?
Playing music. I'm the aux guy in the locker room, so I'm always playing music, and I like to pick the music. So that's a big thing for me, is what I listen to before a game.
Are you superstitious?
No, that's actually one thing I don't do. I actually try to mix it up a lot because I know like get in your head like very, very easily. Like you gotta do the same thing. If it doesn't happen, then I've heard stories of guys not playing well. I mix it up every game. I do something different every game, and maybe that's my superstition is I do something different every game. I try not to get too superstitious.
That's a great point. Did you have a welcome to college hockey moment?
Oh yeah, we were in Alaska Fairbanks. Marino, he played on the BCHL, West Kelowna, whatever their team was. They won the RBC. He's a big guy. He was like a big fighter for him too, but he was like a strong, like big guy, like 6'5", 220. And I was a freshman, and I came down the left wall and tried pulling up and stopping him, and he was the back checker, full speed, and wow, he just lit me up in my first it was like my second home game. And I went into the boards, and I was like, wow, all right, like these guys are men. I haven't been hit that hard probably in a long time. I remember that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Playing hockey. Not gonna lie, playing hockey.
And the most important question, who is a better athlete at 23, you or Steve Holt?
Oh, definitely me. Steve, I heard he was kind of an athlete back in the day, but I have to give it to myself.
All right, fair enough. That's awesome. Guys?
Ashton, one question I have is the thing. Now, did you take advantage this year, I guess, of the NCAA transfer rule because the way they changed? Is that how you can immediately go and play, and how did that happen?
Yeah, so I didn't. At the end of the season, everything I wasn't or even a little before the season, I wasn't planning on transfer. That wasn't in my mind at all. But then, I've always obviously I committed to Lake State. Lake State went to the guys when I was 16, 17, and it was a great score. I didn't go through the whole recruiting process or nothing like that. So for me, I was happy right away. I've been with Lake State for committed plus the years I played for about 7 years. So I've been here for a long time and been with the program a long time. And I always wondered what college would have been like away from home and what college would be like somewhere else. But obviously I wasn't going to sit out a year because that's something I went out. I'm not sitting down playing. I'm not going to sit down and play hockey for a year. But then the transfer rule came into effect this year, and it gave me the opportunity to think about transferring. And then obviously I knew some teams were interested, and I was okay. I was talking to my advisor, stuff like that. And then I said, I'm going to go in the portal and see what schools taught to me because obviously I'm not going to go to any school. I don't want to just go to, I want to go to a good school, obviously the hockey school and stuff like that. So I went to the transfer portal, and it was mayhem. It was free agency, if I was a pro hockey player, because of the new transfer rule passed 2 days before, so they knew I could play right away. And I think I had out of 60 teams in the Division I, at least half call me in a weekend. And they just trying to go there. So it was definitely not really a college recruiting experience, where where it slowly happens. This was all at once. So then I was just kind of just taking notes and trying to narrow it down to the team that fit me best and what they offered me, stuff like that, and development, playing situation, stuff like that. And then I just came down to 3 schools, and I picked North Dakota.
And the question I have, and this is not trying to get political here, but I say, Lake State's a great program. But for a small school like Lake State, can that transfer rule possibly hurt them? You're going to North Dakota, but being a small school, could that transfer rule hurt them?
See, so my philosophy is a lot of people think that is it would hurt them, but in the same way, it'll hurt maybe some of the smaller schools this year or two, but you're going to see a trickle down effect where you're going to see some really good players that were committed to North Dakota or committed to Boston College that weren't playing, and obviously they want to play. So you'll see good players go from not playing there, the coaches, them just, being in line. Because that's the thing about college, you see a lot, you think about it in the CHL, you see players all the time get traded from one team to another, but then start playing really well. They just wasn't the right fit at that place. So you're going to see it, there's going to be a good player on a team, Boston College, anywhere else. But they're not getting them the coach don't get along or something like that. And before they were just I'm going to try and suck it up because I don't want to sit out a year. Now they could leave and go to a different school Lake State, and they can play and actually have a lot of and just get a lot of exposure and playing time and stuff like that. Just with a different coach. So I think at the beginning it might hurt because right now it's not happening, but you'll see I think bigger schools, like with guys go to different smaller schools. I think it'll even out in the end.
And the last thing for me is, you said you want that contract, and that's a big thing for you. But if you do the Masters, will you stay in North Dakota for a second year?
Yeah, I get 2 years of eligibility because of the COVID situation. So I'll be a senior next year and I'll graduate. But if I don't end up signing, for whatever reason, then I can go back and get my master's program my 5th year and play another year of college hockey, and then hopefully again still be able to sign.
Ashton, one question I had is we got to watch your playoff game on TV here. They showed it on TSN over here, and it was kind of cool to watch. I'll ask you 2 questions at once. First, talk about the experience of playing in that playoff game and what that was like. I mean, that was a game. If you guys could have got a couple breaks early, I think you guys could have won. They were a good team. And another question I have for you. They mentioned during that broadcast that you guys have players from something like 11 different countries or something like that. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but something along those lines. Can you talk about that a bit too?
Yeah. So obviously that game was like something that you kind of like dream of as a kid, like especially like at a smaller school. You don't make it every year. Like obviously, like Lake State, what has it been, like 20 some years. So
25 years.
Yeah, so obviously, getting to that tournament final 16 game is like, a cool experience. So, just like when you're getting there, you're seeing, it's before when you're in your conference, there's some teams in playoffs. You're like, all right, we're going to beat them. But it's kind of like, getting to like the Memorial Cup. Like then it's like you're in that next final round, or like in for like junior A over there, like the RBC Cup type of thing. Like then you're kind of starting to get down to like, wow, like not everybody makes it this far. So it was just cool to experience that. Like, not many people, especially, from even like Sault Ste. Marie, like but even in hockey in general, make it to that game. So it was definitely a cool experience. And we ended up losing to UMass, but they ended up winning it all. And so, I mean, can't really be too upset about it, I guess. So, and then for what was the other question? Oh, the guys on our team. Yeah. We have a lot. We have like 11 countries, I think is true. We have France, Japan, Swedish. No, but it's really cool. They all bring different games. You can even see in the NHL, Swedish players play different than, Finnish players or Russian players. Everybody has like, different kind of like playing styles. And you see it it's like a smaller version of it on our team. Like, like the Swedish people kind of play the same, like the kid from France plays differently. The Japanese, like Yuki, plays different. Like, so that was probably the coolest part about having them all on the team. And then obviously like, there's learning different cultures. Like I learned a lot about every place. Like my roommate is Jacob Nordquist here at Lake State, and we live in the house together. And he's from Sweden. And like I learned a lot about different countries from stuff like that. So it's definitely a cool experience, that's for sure.
So Ashton, how did the Lakers take your decision to transfer?
I mean, obviously they weren't happy. Like, because like I'll be a returning leading scorer, but they like understood like they like I think they kind of get it, because like I said, like I've been here my whole life and I kind of want to see something different, and like it's like kind of like an only chance opportunity for me to go experience that somewhere else. So I don't think they were too upset. I mean, I can't say that for sure. I mean, like my last conversation has been with them, but from what I get, I don't think they're too upset.
I think that's, again, it just goes to show that sometimes you need to stand up for yourself, right? Because a lot of people in your situation, you grew up in Sioux, Michigan, obviously, like we've talked about, playing at Lake State. A lot of people would almost expect them to finish their career at Lake State. But I think it's really impressive that you kind of see where you want to go and know what you want to do, and you aren't afraid to do it. And I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, I mean, some people aren't going to like it, but from everybody I've talked to, friends, family, even people in the community, they're excited for me. So everybody's pretty excited for me. And I think it was just more of looking back on it. Like, I think people are just looking back on the time that I was here and just appreciating how like good it was and everything, and not more of like how mad, like, because I'm not coming back next year. So that's what a lot of people said. They were just saying like it was awesome that we even got to see you play for 3 years. Well, 2, because 3 on TV this year, but got to experience you in a Lakers uniform, and like it was awesome. So I got good feedback so far from people that I know, and it hasn't really been too big of a problem.
So before we let you go, I'll give you a chance if there's anyone that you want to give a shout out to, anyone that's really helped you out throughout your hockey career, to help get you where you are. We just kind of give the guest an opportunity to kind of say whatever they want to say, or if there's anything that they wanted to say. So go ahead. Yeah.
I guess a shout out to my parents and my grandparents. I mean, they keep me on the rink, keep me playing, and like that's probably all the coaches. I mean, everybody from Lake State staff to all my minor coaches. Thanks for keep me playing and keep me getting better. So that's probably about it. Everybody that helped me along the way.
Awesome, Ash. Well, listen, we really appreciate you doing this. That game that you guys played over here really helped pique the interest, I think, and reignite the interest of Lake State. And when your game was on TSN over here, Facebook was lit up with the fact, from people in Sioux Canada, LSSU's on, and I think everyone tuned in to watch. So, we really appreciate you doing this. You've been a great representative for Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. You've been a great representative for LSSU. Really impressive what you've done. So thank you so much for doing this. And you know what? You have 70,000 people over here cheering for you in Sioux Canada too. So whatever you decide to do or wherever your career takes you, hopefully you don't forget about us and you can come on and talk to us again down the road.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I'll never forget the Canadians over there playing at the Pee-wee hockey arena as a kid. So I don't gotta worry about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Ash. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I
thanks,
appreciate
Ash.
it.
That was nice.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So one thing I wanted to say before we let everybody go is make sure this week the Mateers are very big supporters of SiouxSports.com, and Jack is representing Canada, the U18s in Texas this week, the 27th, 29th, 30th, and May 1st, all on TSN at 9 p.m. We can watch Jack play and represent Canada. So I'd just like to put that out there that he'll be on TSN those 4 games against Sweden, Latvia, Switzerland, and Belarus. So just something we'd like to support the Jack Mateer, and good luck to Team Canada, the U18s.
I think a big thing.
Before we sign off, Jim,
I think a big thing with Jack Mateer is that I coached him in hockey when he was in his second year at him. I helped.
So that must be the reason why he's in Texas, eh, Tony?
I don't think he'd be anywhere without me that year. He was the first year at him playing up into the. I guess it's Adam A at that time, if I remember, at the PA, and I was helping Coach Dillon was on the team, and I honestly don't think he'd be anywhere if it wasn't for me, and I'm sure he'd tell you the same. We got to get Jack on here one day when he comes back.
Now, was that when Dillon played goalie?
Dillon was goalie, at that time, yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Jim, before we signed off, and Jay, have you guys been over to Lake State? Do you guys go to games over there, or have you been over there in the past?
I go when we can. I go pretty much a game every year, or sometimes more often, depends. Yeah, I miss going. It's fun hockey to watch. It's a lot different than the Greyhound games. It's like faster and just a little, not necessarily better. It's almost a little more scrambly kind of too. It's a faster pace. Guys are flying around out there. It's fun to watch, and it's a great atmosphere. Yeah, I'll go back as soon as I can. I love it over there.
Yeah, and that's the Algoma University basketball played, or the Sioux Thunderbirds played. I was at every home game I could, and like Jim says, the best thing and is most entertaining, even though I've been a hockey fan for 48 years, the student body is placed right behind the visitors' bench.
Yeah.
So the team hates it because they're banging on the glass. Students wearing diapers. They got a band going. Like it's not as big as it used to be, but it's coming back, and it's just a totally different atmosphere than watching the OHL over here.
Oh yeah, I love going over there. I used to love going to Eagles games at the old Polar too. It's so fun.
Yeah, so you can have the beer at the Polar. That's why
they bring a beer right to you. You have a Polar burger and go for a drink or two after. That's a fun time. It makes me sad that we can't go over there at all anymore. And I know it's even worse for Bono and his family over there. So
yeah. It's so funny. I totally agree about the Lakers. I wish more people here would think about going over and supporting the Lakers and watching games over there, because it's just a great atmosphere. And you're right about the Polar. There is no place I'd rather watch hockey in the Twin Stews than the Polar Arena. It's just beautiful over there. So
and you said about Bono having family over there. I was talking to Kevin Kane not too long ago, and he has Kevin Kane Hockey Management, and again, he's an advisor, and he hasn't been over home, and he hasn't seen his wife face to face since COVID started. So it's been almost over a year now that he hasn't been. He's still covering hockey, but hasn't been able to go over the border to see his wife. So
yeah, Kevin's a great guy. He's another guy I'd like to have on here. He'd have a lot of old stories. I remember from his old days when he was coaching in St. Ignace and all that stuff, Mackinac City, wherever they were. But they did some cool things. He's been around, and he's a good hockey guy. Really good guy. I feel bad for his situation right now. Yeah,
I'll reach out and see if we can get him for next week.
He'd have a lot of good stories. He's a good guy.
The only other thing I wanted to say too quickly was I really like how Ashton kind of talked about how he progressed to where he is. You know, we see it all the time over here, right? I mean, we all know kids who have been cut from a team and think their hockey career is over, right? And they can't go anywhere. So I thought it was really neat that Ashton kind of laid out everything that he did and kind of all the different places that he played. And it was quite the sacrifice.
And go ahead.
He was really good. I mean, he talked really well, and he's right about the fact, you know, he's 23 and he's still playing at a really, really high level of hockey, and he's still got a chance to make it. And it's a nice road, and he's done well for himself. And you know, he spoke very well, and I wish him nothing but the best.
And one name answers here, guys. Jim, you're a Patriots fan. Tony, Detroit fan. Who's their first pick in their first pick at the draft this weekend, Jim?
Oh, you said one-word answer. You can't give a one-word answer with the Patriots. It's impossible. I mean, Belichick plays his cards holds his cards so tight to his chest. You know, I heard today that they picked 15th on Thursday night, and I heard today that's their highest pick in the draft since 2008. They picked 15th, and I mean they need a quarterback. I'm not a Cam Newton fan. He's only signed for 1 year, even if I did like him, and so they need their quarterback of the future. If I was picking who I want, I would want Fields. That's my hope. But you never know with them. I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick traded back, to be honest with you, and that wouldn't even surprise me one bit. So I wish I could give you one. I'll say Fields, but it's really hopeful thinking. So
I can be quicker. Yeah. I hope they trade back. If they don't trade back, my order goes Sewell, Slater, Chase, Pitts. So we'll see what happens.
And Bono, you should get one of those guys, right? Realistically, if they don't trade back, it should be quarterback's first 3 picks at least.
That's right.
You should get one of those guys, right? So
that's right. You would think.
Unless they go off the board and they go, you know, Waddle or something like that, which you don't want. But
the Lions.
You should get one of those guys.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, thanks a lot, and we'll have a discussion next week about the draft on the show next week. Every Monday night at 7:00. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and like us and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you, guys.
I'll tell you one thing, Jay, before we go. If the Patriots don't have a new quarterback next Monday when we're on, and Cam Newton's still the only quarterback on the team, I'm not going to be happy. So we'll talk about it then.
I want to rant.
Yeah, I'll be on a rant. Don't worry.
Monday night.
So we'll have our guest on, then we'll have an NFL rant after that. How's that?
Anytime.
Okay, thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Guys.
Yeah, see you, bud.